View show on TV. Joining me tonight to go through Wednesday's newspapers are the yin and yang of GB News, Josh Howie and Leo Kearse. Which is which, though? I suppose.
Do we have to do that yin and yang shape?
Well, you have to. Yes, you have to cuddle and make the shape.
I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have to get this dry clean now.
You will.
This is
you know,
too exciting.
yin means negative, dark, and feminine. So I see that as you.
Not in Scotland, it doesn't.
No.
Scotland, yin just means one. Have you got yin?
Does it really?
Yeah.
Such a strange people, aren't they, Josh?
I'm learning a lot, thank you.
You are. Well, look, let's all learn a lot and start with the front covers of Wednesday's newspapers. The Daily Mail is leading with "We're shaping Labour policy, boasts eco-mob." The Telegraph has first-time criminals to avoid court. We'll get to that in a moment. The Guardian is running with asylum seeker barge may be death trap, firefighters warn. And the Daily Express, biggest house fall price in 14 years, but rise on the way. The Eye has got recession fears grow as interest rates set to rise until Christmas. And the Metro, cancer, holy grail, some very positive news. And those were your front pages. So we're going to kick off with Wednesday's Telegraph. Josh, what are they running with?
First-time criminals to avoid court.
Well, that's lucky for you.
Yes, indeed. No, well, I'm later on.
Oh, you're a veteran of the criminal system.
No, now that's actually tough for me. So, yeah, this is because essentially they got a big backlog.
Yes.
And so they go, look, if you smoke a bit of weed, it's all good. You know, if you do a little bit of...
Is that really what they're
shop,
saying?
Yeah, if you steal from shop, you just got... You know what all you have to do is you have to say, I'm going to change.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, all right.
Well, what's wrong with repentance, Leo? I mean, isn't this a good thing, saying to people, look, we'll give you a second chance?
It's giving people a loophole. People can now go out and commit crime knowing that there are no consequences.
But only once.
We don't have a criminal justice system.
Everyone should get one chance.
Yeah, but Labour are going to get in next year, so then it'll be extended to, like, you know,
Why don't we deal
5
with that
times.
one? We'll deal with that. But what is funny about this policy, they've also simultaneously announced that people who have committed a bunch of crimes are going to go to jail. And this is amazing when you read these stories, because you're like, why are they not going to jail at the moment? They're saying people who who do shoplifting like 20 times, now they're going to go to jail.
Why weren't they there before?
What is going on? 20 times!
I mean, at least with this story, what's quite interesting is they are admitting that it's about a backlog. This is an administrative decision. Yeah. It would be so tempting for them to dress it up as a kind of altruistic thing about, you know, the belief in humanity and that kind of thing, but they haven't bothered.
No.
Yeah, they just said, we've been a bit rubbish, we haven't invested enough money into this, so this is what we've got to do.
Yep, fair enough. We're going to move on to the front cover of Wednesday's Guardian. Leo, you've got this one?
So they say the asylum seeker barge may be a death trap, firefighters warn. So they've had some sort of, you know, assessment done by firefighters. I don't know, you know, if these were commissioned by the government or if they just took it upon themselves to do it. And they say, yeah, it could catch fire, because we've seen a lot of stuff catching fire because of climate change and also people with lighters. But apparently it's climate change. I don't know if, I mean, it's
what
a
is this
boat.
Barge? What is the barge?
Oh, so the barge is it's going to be used to house migrants in the year 2057, when finally Rishi manages to surmount all the legal hurdles and the obstacles and the people standing in the way. He's going to be able to put some people in this barge. At the moment, they're being housed in the most luxurious flats and hotels the world has ever seen.
Some of them are rubbish.
Yeah, but the ones that they put in the adverts...
get you angry are the good ones.
They literally put the hotels, the people traffickers who make so much money from the people coming across the channel, they put adverts up on TikTok saying these are the hotels you're going to be staying in because the British public are mugs. Look how they stymie every opportunity to try and put you in horrible accommodation.
It does feel like, you know, because I'm all for sort of putting people up who are in need, but it feels a bit like they're goading. Why not put them in a Travelodge? I mean, that never happens.
Travelodge is great.
Not even a Premier Inn.
I lived in a Travelodge for a while. It's amazing.
Money in this country to put people up in Travelodges.
Really?
They've increased the wages way too much.
Yeah.
The fees of that. The British public spending £6 million a day on these hotels, motels and whatnot. That money is coming actually from our aid budget. Still, that's not good. It would be good if it went out to people in the world who really
exactly. There are still people who are losing out.
So that's how
but it's good to know that left-wing people are stopping the migrant problem being dealt with, are also stopping needy people getting money.
Well, look, firefighters are arguably known as being particularly left-wing, as far as I know.
Yeah, but what about these ones?
They want to save lives, and if they've got this boat and are you allowed to?
It's a boat. It's a boat or a ship. But it's a boat. How can a boat be a fire hazard? It's on water.
Well,
but if it catches fire, you can't just dunk it.
Yes, you can.
And put it out. That's a
sink it.
submarine, Leo.
And
You
also
sink
the
it.
number
Problem
of-
solved.
the number of
I mean, you
people
might have
who are
another
gonna be
problem, but
look, it's got like if you've seen the photos of it, it's like lots of corridors. It's going to have it's going to be packed.
oh, they got corridor. I've only got one corridor in my flat, and they're getting how many corridors?
The people to escape. You know,
Anyway.
look, these are real things, and when they sort it out, then let's talk then.
Okay, well, look, there's no need to go into corridor envy. We're going to move up to the Daily Mail.
Haven't heard of that before.
Josh, what are the Daily Mail running with on Wednesday?
Okay, we're shaping Labour policy, boasts eco mob. This is the leader of Just Stop Oil, and he said in a meeting last month, essentially, he's like, look, we didn't really want to have to do all the annoying walking slowly around the House of Parliament, but look what happened. Labour came out and they changed their policy. And I think he's doing a slight causal thing here. I think Labour
We should say, though,
looking at Just Stop Oil.
this is a leaked recording. It wasn't an official.
No.
I was going to say their PR is bad enough as it is, but that wasn't an official thing.
Exactly.
But he's literally-
But sorry, I just want to finish. But the Daily Mail are then going, well, then it's true because this idiot says it. No.
Listen, he's the guy who's paying the money
No,
to Labour.
this is a different guy.
Who is it?
Who is
This is the guy who runs the
recording of?
actual organisation, not the guy who's donating the money to
Right.
Labour.
Oh, but he's employed. So he's employed by the other guy. I mean,
it's his
but anyway,
organisation.
this is the eco zealot mob. This is Just Stop Oil, Dale Vince, whoever it is, admitting that they're influencing policy, and the policy isn't
not Dale Vince admitting
It's
it.
not
It's
just it's who he pays.
Yeah.
It's somebody in his employ.
He donates to a charity.
He donates
or
to
an
charity, and the money goes to this guy.
Right,
Yeah, he
stop,
pays.
stop.
He
All right,
pays.
whatever.
Do you know what I
Other
mean?
people
But anyway,
donate
can I
to
just
it as
make my 2 points
Yes,
about
of
this?
course.
So the 2 points are, people might think that, he's just influencing policy, it's all nice and fluffy and stuff. No, it's subsidies. Taxpayer money goes back to Dale Vince's companies, so that's why he pays Labour, that's why he pays Just Stop Oil to change the policy. And I can't remember what the other one was.
What about this, Leo? But is it not possible? Could it not just be bravado? You know, this is a leaked recording, it's a hidden thing. He was just saying to people, hey, we're basically deciding Labour's policy. Like, isn't that possible?
Oh, so when Trump does it, it's bad. But when a left-wing person does it, it's just bravado.
Well, I'm just asking the question whether bravado is possible.
No,
I
it's
think in
not.
Trump's case, it can also be bravado.
Too specific.
Okay.
Well,
He
listen.
knows he's
Okay,
changing.
well,
And also, he is changing policy.
This is a ridiculous. Well, they're not changing policy. He's making a causal
changed
factor
it.
when it hasn't.
It's
He hasn't. They've been really annoying. And actually, what's happened is that Labour, by the way, have not said that they're going to be taking away these certificates that are being announced now. So it hasn't changed any policy.
Labour Party in 1972, nothing about
Much
solar
as I
panels.
enjoy you
Labour
two
Party now.
squabbling, we're going to finish this section with the Daily Express. Leo, what are they running with on
So
Wednesday?
they've got a little picture there of Anton Dubek, who says his father stabbed him for dancing. So it's good to see there is some good old-fashioned parenting out there. But also they've got some other good news. So the biggest house price fall in 14 years is coming, but apparently a rise is on the way after that. So these people have obviously studied the housing market before and seen that it goes up and down.
So it's not really news then, is it? It's just a continuation more of the same.
I mean, it's kind of. I mean, it's rare for the housing market to go down. It generally goes up over time.
3.8% is a big drop.
Oh, is it? So in other words, this would be the time to buy,
Yes,
and then next year you sell.
If you got some money.
So we should all just buy
if you got
property.
it's still going to cost like about £3 million to get a garage. So
Okay, all right. So not amazing news. OK, well, look, alas, we have to take a contractually mandated break now. But after this, we're going to be getting our teeth into Captain Tom's daughter, shoplifters and cancer cures. Not the most nutritious diet. See you in a minute.
What you get for breakfast is something that, if we do our jobs right, you will wake up to news that you didn't know the night before.
It's a conversation. It's not just me and Eamon.
We want to get to know you, and we want you to get to know us.
From 6, it's Breakfast with Eamon and Isabel,
Monday to Thursdays on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster is going around in ever-decreasing circles, followed by the media. Britain is broken. How on earth did we get into this mess? But more importantly, how do we get out of it? Join me at 7 p.m, Mondays to Thursdays on Farage. Here on GB News, we will have open, rational debate. We've got to work out how Britain moves forward from this. Join us here on GB News, the People's Channel. Britain is watching.
When the news happens, it happens here.
And really important breaking news.
Breaking news this morning.
On TV, radio and online, the news starts here on Britain's Newsroom.
All the biggest stories and the answers that you need from across the UK and beyond.
Join Britain's Newsroom from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Patrick Christie's, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6. We tackle the day's news agenda like you've never seen before. It's high tempo, high octane, the most controversial topics, and the best guests. You will not be able to take your eyes and ears off it. I'm not afraid to ask the questions that you really want answered. 3 till 6 p.m, Monday to Friday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
People in Britain, they love free speech, but they also love fair play.
I don't care if I'm speaking somebody from a trade union, from the Labour Party, somebody from the SNP. And I think the viewers like to see that actually we can challenge one another, but in a positive way.
We think we ask the questions that people want to ask, and often we ask the questions that we wanted to ask in Parliament but never got the chance to ask.
So join us every Saturday, 10 a.m. till noon on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's all about family, being in people's living rooms, all the interaction and getting to know who our viewers and listeners are.
When I was young, my dad used to say, "Nana, stop arguing." I wanted an outlet that would enable me to give my opinion.
People are going through a really hard time right now, and I know that you don't feel like you're being listened to by the establishment. I came to GB News because it's the People's Channel, and I want the audience to have their say on the events of the day.
We're dynamic. We do something different.
Democracy shows that the wisdom of the nation is in its people.
I get to travel to find out what the story is from a personal perspective.
The British people aren't fools. We know when we're not being told the full story.
We've got to work out how Britain moves forward from this.
It's the best country in the world.
The establishment had their chance. Now we're here to represent your views.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
We're proud to be GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, your first look at Wednesday's newspapers with me, Andrew Doyle, and with Josh Howie and Leo Kirst. We're going to start with news of Trump's indictment. Josh.
Yes, this is the sad day for us all.
I thought this would upset you.
Yes.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, are you? I was crying in the break. Oh my God, I can't believe you forget so easily. Former president indicted over efforts to overturn the 2020 US election. This has been obviously going on now for a while, but yes, 4 counts by the grand jury. He says it's going to be happening, I think, is it tomorrow? And it's going to happen pretty soon as well, I think Thursday.
So, given that Trump has a tendency of spinning this kind of thing as, well, this is evidence that we have a sort of deep state judiciary that's working against him. Or
evidence I committed a crime.
Or the weaponisation of the law enforcement system against him, and that plays well with his base. Is this not a gift to Trump?
Well, he's supposedly spent $40 million so far on lawyers, and he's desperate for more money. So, yes, I imagine that more people will continue to donate. And 2 things can be true. It can be that people are out to get him, and it can be that he committed crimes.
Leo, we're not going to speculate on whether or not he committed the crime. That's the job of the jury.
Yeah. I'm going to say it.
But am I not right that there is an extent to which this could play into his hands?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's got this grievance complex, which is mostly nourished by reality, because he is being persecuted. He's a political dissident being persecuted by a government, by a political party. The Democrats have worked hand in hand with parts of the government that are supposed to be at arm's length before to persecute him or to fix things behind the scenes, like when they buried the Hunter Biden laptop story, or when they delisted people on Twitter who were his supporters. So, I mean, absolutely plays into his hands. I just don't think, I mean, he's not the best candidate for the Republicans, so it's a shame that this is
Isn't it
helping
strange that Ron DeSantis is out, but effectively he's out the race now?
Yeah.
And yet, from a Republican point of view, if you had half a brain, you would want him to run, because he's far more likely to
He can win. It's a cult. Just like people would say that I have derangement syndrome, the people who are pro-Trump also have the same derangement syndrome, in that he can do no wrong. It's impossible that he actually committed a crime.
They must know that he can't beat Biden.
Yeah,
because he lost last time.
And also, I'm pro-Trump, but I mean, he's lost me on certain things, like his support for Ukraine. He doesn't support Ukraine in the way that he should. And the way that he should is somebody who supports, Western liberal democracy and sees the entire Western world as brothers should.
So my understanding of this is, though, that he can still run even if he's found guilty. Is that right?
Yeah, in jail.
Yeah.
There's no law that stops you from...
Isn't there a law at some point? Because one of these charges is about assisting insurrection. If you can still run when you've done that.
I think what they'll do is they'll paint bars on the White House. And
Is that how they're going to do it?
Yeah.
I mean, that just strikes me as insane.
Yeah, it's America, mate.
Yeah,
it does. But and also the 2020. I mean, it's ridiculous for them to say it was an insurrection. I mean, it wasn't. It was a sort of stag do that got out of hand by the looks of it. I mean, they were following guide.
People did die.
Yeah, people die in all kinds of situations. It shows there's a two-tier justice system in America. That people in the Antifa riots were sometimes compensated for being arrested, whereas the people in this riot were not, and they were actually taking the riot to where it was going to do some good instead of just burning down random businesses.
It'll be so interesting to see.
If you want to do an insurrection, you generally need the US government on your side, and then you can overthrow any government around the world.
But I don't think any of us would support the idea of an insurrection, but it just strikes me as very odd that if he is implicated in this, if it is determined that he could still run, and what will that do? Because we thought last time, after he won in 2016, everything kind of spiraled in very strange ways in the world of American politics. It would be even weirder at this point if we...
And that's why we're going to be tuned in.
Oh, I know, but doesn't anyone else just crave some normalcy? I just want a good few years of normal, boring politics.
But that's what Biden was supposed to be, and look what he's done. Everybody, half the people in his government are transgender, and it's, I don't know, it's nuts.
OK, well, what about this one from the Daily Mail? Captain Tom's daughter. Sounds like the name of a Gilman Sullivan opera. What's this about?
Yeah, Captain Tom's daughter and the missing money. So Captain Tom's daughter refuses to knock down the spa and pool extension built using the lockdown hero's name at her £1.2 million home. So this is how the money he raised is being spent.
Wait, is that right, Leo? I'm not so sure it's the money that was raised by Captain Tom.
So they were granted permission in 2021 to build an L-shaped office building for the Captain Tom Foundation.
So it's not the money, though, but it's more the fact...
Well, she's using her own money to build an office for the Captain Tom Foundation.
Yeah, but they got the permission because they said, oh, we need it because we need the office space
but it was
this
a spa.
charity. But it turned out to be a spa.
But you need to relax after doing all that hard charity work.
What would Captain Tom have wanted?
So is it not possible to run a charity and to build a spa and swimming pool? Is that not necessary?
Is this her money?
It is her money, yeah.
She's using her own money.
So that's by the way, she gets paid a lot of money by the charity, or she did get paid a lot of money.
No, but Leo, that's the point. It's not like they raised money.
Man, this is like just a boil thing all over again. Yes, so she's getting paid a huge salary by this charity.
She wanted 100 grand, and I believe then the charity commission turned her down. Now she's not getting.
Leo, what I'm saying is it's not quite Black Lives Matter, where they raised other money and then they spent it all on a Miami Beach house.
This is genius because it's the British version, which is just all about planning permission.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's not about the money. It's just about a bunch of neighbours going, no, that's not fair, and complaining. And which is what it is.
OK, well, what about this one from the Mail? This is about a council being profligate with taxpayers' money. Josh?
Yeah, it's just a wastage of money. Tory council is left effectively bankrupt after investing £655 million in a solar farm tycoon, and he used that taxpayer cash to buy a private jet and all these other things. So this is Thurrock Council in Essex. They borrowed that money, public money, invested it in these solar-powered farms, and essentially they were worth less than what this person said they were because the energy wasn't the same price.
So why did they think this would work?
Well, they got greedy, and they probably thought that this is a win-win situation, which is how this stuff was being sold. Like, hey, invest in renewables, and you're going to make a fortune as well. What's to lose?
But that wasn't the case.
And actually, what it is that's how much they invested, but they've actually lost about 200 million.
Oh, for goodness' sake!
So it's only 200 million.
Leo.
I mean, they're technically bankrupt, or effectively bankrupt, and yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. And the money that they spent that was supposed to save the planet being spent on solar panels and stuff went to this guy who, like all green energy barons, likes to treat himself. I mean, Dale Vince, who runs Ecotricity, has got a sports car as well.
Okay, everyone take a shot, guys. By the way, if he mentions Dale Vince, every time take a shot.
But Dale Vince actually got the taxpayer to pay a grant towards his supercar. But yeah, so this guy's bought like a Bugatti Chiron supercar, one of the most expensive cars in the world, and it's just ridiculous to me. People see net zero, they're like, oh my god, they drift where they throw money at it, and half the time it's a scam.
But why do these people who get so rich, and it would be in their interest not to advertise their wealth, why do they buy things like a Bugatti Chiron, whatever?
Because they got loads of money.
I mean, I don't understand.
I wouldn't know. I'm not at that level yet.
No. Okay, well, we're going to move on to the... No, not yet, Josh. Give it time.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to the Mirror next. Leo, this is a fascinating story about cancer research.
So scientists hail Holy Grail breakthrough in new cancer drug that annihilates tumours. So I am going to start smoking again. This is going to be amazing.
This gives you license to whatever you want.
Every time there's a headline that says new cancer breakthrough means there's no cancer, I start smoking cigars.
We get these a lot, don't we?
I'm now riddled.
This one looks quite promising, though.
This one looks quite promising, like they all do. So it targets proteins found in most cancers that help tumours to grow and multiply throughout the body, aren't found in normal cells. It's codenamed AOH1996. They don't understand how code names work. That is the boring technical name that they've used. And so the boring technical name must be something like blue steel or something like that.
Can I do a joke about Elon Musk's child's name again?
If you want.
Okay, AOH.
What? I don't understand that joke.
No, just because his kids' names are all like digits. X04.
I see.
It's all right. It was a callback when you got annoyed with me when I did the same joke repeatedly a few weeks ago.
Oh, did
about
I?
Star signs.
I don't even remember
It's all right.
that.
I mean, I remember it. I wrote it down in my diary.
I'm on your list now of grudges.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a culmination of 20 years of research. This is something that they've actually been...
Some gender studies degrees are the culmination of 20 years of research.
And look at what they yield. Yeah. They've changed our society for the good.
We've now got too many genders.
But this is really because it attacks a thing that basically replicates everything, and they thought that it was undruggable.
This protein.
And now they can. But you know what? As you say, we've been covering a lot of they've cured cancer stories. So now those used to be on paper story 1 or 2 that we did.
Yeah.
Now this is on story 8.
I would say just don't take up smoking yet, Leo.
Okay.
It sounds like this is just early days. Last in this section now is The Guardian. The Orkney Islands will finally get mail. Good for them.
Indeed. Royal Mail uses drones to deliver post in Orkney. So whilst Ukraine is using their drones in a slightly different way, services between Stromness and the islands of Hoy and Graemsey is going to be their first permanent drone delivery service.
Well, have they done before this then? Have they just not received mail?
No, they haven't. It's by ship and...
so they have ships and things?
Yeah, they have...
Aren't they a fire hazard?
Right, but this is going to be quicker because you don't need to worry about the weather.
So is this article really just people on Orkney get letters quicker now?
Yes, but also Amazon packages.
You're going to have to worry about Scottish kids knocking...
You're going
to have to worry about Scottish kids knocking these things out of the sky and stealing your birthday card.
Not on Orkney. Surely they're quite middle class on Orkney.
I don't know where Orkney is.
No, I don't know either. But I imagine it's lots of posh people who've retreated and they want to get away from the hubbub.
Maybe it'll work in Orkney. Also, it hasn't really cut down on the amount of staff you need because apparently there needs to be a drone operator on each island as it takes off and lands to monitor it. So you've now doubled the amount of postmen.
OK, well, I'm glad we covered that. So we smashed that. We're coming up, though. We've got Costa Coffee's marketing department getting defensive, teenagers embracing conservatism, and the rise of white supremacist 5-year-olds. See you in a moment.
That warm feeling inside. From Boxed Boilers. Proud sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi there, it's Aidan McGivern here with the GB News forecast. Turning wet again overnight. Heavy showers replace the rain into Wednesday, but unseasonable winds, especially along southern coastal parts of England. An area of low pressure is developing over the Atlantic. That's going to move through central parts overnight. It's going to bring the strongest winds on the southern flank and some heavy rain ahead of it into Northern Ireland later this evening, passing through Wales, southern and central England, and then eventually northern and eastern England seeing the wet weather by dawn, as well as southern Scotland. Now, northern Scotland stays clear overnight, and here temperatures will dip into the single figures, but elsewhere those temperatures will stay at 13, 14, 15 Celsius. But it is a wet and windy start to Wednesday. The wettest weather will be across Northern Ireland, central and southern Scotland, northern England. Another band of rain moves through southern counties for a while, carried through on a strengthening wind with the risk of gales for coastal areas, 50, perhaps 60 mile-per-hour wind gusts. That could cause impacts if you're taking part in outdoor activities, for example, or camping. And another thing that could be impactful, very heavy showers and thunderstorms through central parts. That all clears through, and by Thursday, it's a much brighter start to the day. Some sunshine out there. Quite quickly, though, the cloud fills in and further showers develop by the afternoon. Hit and miss downpours, and the wind from the north will make it feel on the cold side. Similar conditions on Friday before another low arrives on Saturday.
That warm feeling inside. From Boxed Boilers. proud sponsors of weather on GB News.
The Live Desk with me, Mark Longhurst.
And me, Pip Thompson. It's here Monday to Friday on GB News.
From midday, we'll bring you the news as it breaks, whenever it's happening and wherever it's happening, from across the UK and around the world.
Refreshing, feisty, but with a bit of fun too.
If it matters to you, we'll have it covered on TV, radio and online.
Join the Live Desk on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
So Jubes and Kerr, we tackle the issues of the day with real robust debate, both sides of the fence, battling it out with me in the middle with my forthright opinions and views. And often really interesting things happen because you start with a position and then by the end of the debate you find actually, well, I might not have thought about that one.
What we need in this country is 2 new political parties.
You should maybe think about doing a 2024 calendar. I'm Michelle Dewberry and I'm keeping you company right through until 7 o'clock this evening.
GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's watching.
Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Join me, Dan Wootton. I'll bring you the sharpest takes and hottest debates. Do you not believe in prison?
I don't believe in prisons.
I'm completely stunned. I guarantee you there'll be no spin, no bias, no censorship.
I actually was personally quite offended by it.
And no reason to go to bed.
So I guess they've always been quite woke.
That's Dan Wootton tonight on TV, radio and online. Monday to Thursday from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In a world of dull and predictable radio and TV shows.
Oh, hi. On Mark Dolan tonight, we've got big guests. We drill into the big stories of the day. The show adds up to a brilliant listening and viewing experience. Mark Dolan Tonight is the most entertaining current affairs show ever, and that's a fact. That's Mark Dolan Tonight, Friday, Saturday and Sunday from 9. Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Like all families, we have arguments every now and then, but actually we agree on what the mission of GB News is, and that's the most fundamentally important thing.
GB News provides the kind of platform that lets all voices be heard.
We don't hold back. We're free to say what we really think. Just because some people who live in a tiny little Westminster bubble think that their particular story is important, that's not the most important story for me.
And often they will be difficult stories, stories that you won't find on the establishment media.
Because what people think in the north of England may be very different to what they're thinking in the home counties.
We're going to carry on telling the world what life is really like for households up and down the UK.
We love to be in your car, in your kitchen as you're having your breakfast. Whatever you're doing, you are part of the show. If it matters to you, it matters to us.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
We're proud to be GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, your first look at Wednesday's newspapers. Let's get straight back into it. This from the Mail. Apparently, conservatism is where all the kids are hanging out now. Leo?
Yeah, that's right. Teenage boys are increasingly embracing conservatism, turning against a liberalism that takes aim at toxic masculinity in America's classrooms and workplaces. So this is a study of political attitudes that shows that teenage boys are increasingly entering adulthood as fully fledged conservatives. Traditionally, we've always thought that, you start off being all woolly-headed, being like, hey, peace and love, man. Hey, share everything, because you don't have anything, so it makes sense then. And then as you get older and you start paying tax, you become more right-wing. But no, it's increased from 17% of teenagers in the 70s to 26% in 2020.
And is this because boys are being blamed for everything, being told that they are essentially toxic and that they are everything that is wrong with the world?
I mean, that's part of it. So there is this constant sort of drumbeat of men are horrible, and there's all these campaigns against men. The phrase toxic masculinity, and then all the sort of positive campaigns like this girl can. They're all aimed at women or minorities or whatever. But it's also, I think, because young men are more likely to be autistic, and autism, like my autism, protects me from all government propaganda because I can see through it.
Josh. What are your thoughts? Are you a toxic male?
Absolutely. And but this is also interestingly that young women are becoming more liberal.
Okay.
And that's the sort of the flip side of it. Whereas traditionally, not young women, but women, there's actually more women who are conservative later on.
So what's happening here? It seems as though the divide between the genders is sort of growing and getting more extreme. And yet, over the past 15, 20 years, we've had people trying to narrow those, say we should treat all kids the same, and boys shouldn't be allowed to play like boys and this sort of thing.
There's
so
definitely a reactionary thing going on in the playground, and even like the sort of 14, 15-year-olds who I know just through my kid and his friends and stuff.
Yes.
Is that I wouldn't say that they're conservative, but they are very good at sniffing out the BS.
To what extent is this really about the fact that kids like to rebel against whatever the prevailing orthodoxy is at the time? Yeah. And the prevailing orthodoxy at the moment, culturally speaking, is wokeness.
Yeah, it's like a religion, and just as with Catholicism, if you grow up under any religion, you can see the holes in it and the hypocrisies and the bits that don't make any sense whatsoever. Right. It's the same. It's the same with this, and kids can see that, and they're free to. They haven't been indoctrinated yet, so they can speak out against it.
You have kids dressing up in a cape saying, "I'm the moon, and I identify as a moon, and you have to call me a moon."
Yeah.
Because they know that they can see the holes in the ideology that the adults are protected.
Or they are a moon.
Or they are a moon, and I respect
Ofcom
who they are.
I'm sticking with my theory that they're protected by autism.
Right. OK, well, it's an interesting one. It's not one I've heard before. We're going to go on to The Independent now. Another big corporation's marketing department steps in it. Josh.
Yes, Costa Coffee defends the mural of a post-op trans man after boycott threat. So a photo was put up online, but it actually turns out it was from last year's Pride, where Costa had painted one of its vans, and a part of it was of a surfing, there we go, a surfing trans man.
I feel seen.
Yeah, exactly, with their surgery scars from having their breasts removed.
This was from last year, but it's just been picked. It's one of those things where it's suddenly gone viral.
And they've defended it, but as people have rightly pointed out, this is encouraging, arguably, this practice of young women, having their bodies damaged forever. And then now we're seeing more and more people detransitioning.
It's very strange because I saw this in a Ben Sherman shop the other day, a photograph of someone with a mastectomy, a young woman who's had her breast removed. And you just think, well, how do women who have been through breast cancer, have had to have a mastectomy, feel about this kind of, where they're twisting the idea of this mutilation as being something positive and life-affirming. And then you've also got all those detransitioners who now say this was the worst mistake they ever made. This is rather more complex.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't people who don't have a mastectomy and feel like it was the right choice for them, but this is a very muddy area.
Yeah, we're certainly seeing. I mean, the age that some of the kids are being sort of funneled onto these transitioning programs, being given puberty blockers and drugs that can, even if you decide not to transition, they can leave you sterile, can leave you with malformed genitalia. I'm not speaking from experience here, but to be pushing that, so many of them then want to, have made the wrong, feel that they've made the wrong decision and want to detransition. And obviously in the 80s and 90s, when I was at school, we had fads going through the school, double denim, people got mullets. It was ridiculous, but you could grow them out. Even people regret tattoos. But some like this, I mean, you see in the detransitioning forums, people saying, well, when will my breasts grow back? And it's heartbreaking. And I really think it should be, I mean, obviously for some people, sterilising them and surgically mutilating them is the best option and protects them or whatever. But I think for a lot of them, it doesn't, and we need to tread very carefully with this.
That's the issue, isn't it, Josh? I mean, the idea that the removal of healthy body parts being promoted by a coffee company as something that is progressive is kind of scary. And an aspiration, exactly. It's odd, isn't it?
Well, it's more not, but it's dangerous, arguably. Yeah. And certainly when we don't know how many detransitioners are going to be coming out over the next years, sort of as they get deprogrammed from this ideology and realise they've made these terrible mistakes, life-altering mistakes. And it's so frustrating because these companies are just so in it, and they, you could just see.
Well, they don't understand it because Costa has said this is just about being inclusive.
They're deferring to, but even when they make the decision to do this stuff, and not Dr. Martin's also having a similar thing, and it's just like they don't get it, and also they're just constantly. You just think that the adults in the room would pay attention.
No, but they've been told that anyone who objects to this kind of stuff is just a hateful bigot.
Yeah, you hateful bigots. I'm all for it. I think if left-wing people want to transition their kids, that's great. Take yourselves out of the gene pool. I don't know. And also, this has got to be the easiest boycott in the world. I mean, I'm going to boycott this coffee chain. Where am I going to go? Oh, the one next door. I mean, there's the coffee chain.
But you can't go to Starbucks because are they still donating their money to mermaids?
They've donated a lot of money to mermaids.
Really?
So you're running out of coffee shops.
Nero? What about the machine in Wetherspoons? Can I still use that?
No, I think they donated to something called technology. I think Tavistock or something. Who knows? Who knows? OK, they didn't, by the way. OK, we're going to move on to The Guardian next. Leo, a story from the land of Vikings, IKEA and Koran burnings.
So the Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has accused outsiders of exploiting the country's freedom of expression laws and using them as a stage for spreading hateful messages after a diplomatic crisis has erupted over Koran burning protests.
So people have been burning the Koran on the streets of Sweden. Swedish authorities and apparently in Denmark, they're talking about implementing laws to prevent that. So that's a threat to freedom of expression, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And once you protect Islam in some way, then you have to protect everything. So you can't criticize, you can't burn a Bible, you can't criticize the Jehovah's Witnesses, you can't criticize my comedy. It's my religion. So it's going to be everything's going to be stifled.
I would say the burning of a Quran, it strikes me as a foolish thing to do. It strikes me as needlessly insensitive. But on the other hand, I believe people should be able to, if they've got a copy of a book that they bought, they should be able to do what they want with that book. It's the same when they burn J.K. Rowling's books. I think it's idiotic and infantile, but they are allowed to do it because we live in a free society, right?
That's allegedly.
Right.
But this story is also he's sort of conflating the two. He's sort of talking that they're trying to usurp their free speech laws or whatever but actually he's also talking, I think, about terrorists coming in and exploiting on the other side. He's sort of saying people are going to be coming here to cause damage, and I think he's talking about terrorists, essentially, sort of in a reciprocal
So he's saying that actually the people who are burning the Qurans are doing this kind of thing are coming from abroad. Is that what he's saying?
No, he's saying they're coming from abroad. He's also saying that other people are also coming from abroad.
So this is more complicated than I thought. I mean, what concerns me about the story is when they're talking about both countries, Sweden and Denmark, are now talking about legally limiting this kind of thing. Look, burning books is unpleasant. It has echoes of Nazi Germany and all sorts of... I just think it's a grim thing to do.
You can't get to net zero doing it.
But we have these debates about burning flags. As well, same sort of thing. It's I don't think it's strategically the right way to protest, but by the same token, I get nervous when the state starts saying we're going to clamp down on
And by the way, it's not a right-wing person who is doing these book burnings in Sweden. It's an Iraqi...
Two Iraqi men,
Iraqi men who I believe are from a Christian sect, who Christians have been... Not that it makes it right, but they've been very much persecuted within Iraq.
OK, well, look, we're going to move on to this one from Tuesday's Daily Mail. Time to homeschool, Josh?
Yeah, every single day is there's a story about this kind of thing. The angel investor, this is actually quite funny because it's not funny what this company has been doing and teaching to our kids, but they've been teaching essentially white supremacy for British school children as young as 5. That's not funny.
No.
What is funny, how they just keep on going on about how the boss of this company is into cycling. They mention his cycling.
They talk about the cycling quite a lot.
They keep on going on and on about it. And it's look, I don't care if they cycle. I don't care.
Oh, I don't know. Cyclists are a bit annoying, Josh.
He's anti-Brexit, and there's a photo of him at the 2019 march that I was at as well. It's so what?
Are you into cycling, Josh?
I'm not into cycling, though.
Well,
so the Mail can't get me on the cycling thing. They can get me on the anti-Brexit stuff. But it's just funny that that's what this whole article is about. His cycling and his anti-Brexit.
There is a serious side to this. This kind of material in schools, Leo, it's not great. It's verging on indoctrination, isn't it?
It's absolutely indoctrination. It's telling, at school, it's the one place where kids all just mix together and make friends regardless of, skin colour or whatever.
5-year-olds aren't racist.
They're not racist. So it's basically teaching them, alongside trigonometry, alongside, all this other stuff, you're being taught how to be racist. And also they say, if kids don't recognise racial difference, then it's because they've got the embedded white supremacy or whatever, and the kids can become defensive and unaccepting of it. So it's ridiculous.
OK, well, look, that's the end of part 3. But coming up, why you shouldn't eat vegetables, why you shouldn't consume lead, and we're going to finally be answering the riddle of the ages: why did the chicken cross the road?
Monday to Thursday nights on GB News. At 6, it's Dubes & Co. 7 o'clock, Farage. At 8, join Jacob Rees-Mogg. And at 9, Dan Wootton Tonight, followed by Headliners. On TV, radio and online. This is GB News.
Now then, Lee Anderson here. Join me on GB News on my new show, The Real World, every Friday at 7 p.m, where real people get to meet those in power and hold them to account. Every week, we'll be hearing your views from up and down the country in the real world. Join me at 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, on Sunday mornings from 9:30, taking the politicians to task and breaking out of SW1 to see how their decisions are affecting you across the UK. Bursting the Westminster bubble every Sunday morning, only on GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's watching.
Join us every night on GB News at 11 p.m. for Headliners, which is 3 top comedians going through the next day's news stories, which is exactly what you need, because when the establishment has gone crazy, you need some craziness to make sense of it. So join us 11 p.m. every night on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Andrew Doyle. Join me at 7 o'clock every Sunday night for Free Speech Nation, the show where I tackle the week's biggest stories in politics and current affairs with the help of my 2 comedian panellists and a variety of special guests.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights from 7 on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Every Sunday from 11, join Michael Portillo.
There will be topical discussion, looking at the week before and the week to come. So kick back and relax at 11 a.m. on Sundays on GB News with me, Michael Portillo. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I joined GB News because I was sick and tired of not hearing my views being represented, not just mine, but so many people that I knew and spoke to.
I just couldn't get my voice out there. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't do anything. Whatever the narrative was, I kind of had to follow it.
GB News is there to provide a voice for those who have been ignored by the establishment media. We think different things, we've got a different style.
GB News is here to be optimistic and positive about the future.
It's real kind of dynamic and flowing, with the audience very much at the heart of it, like a big family.
Here at GB News, we talk about the things that matter to you.
Hearing the voices from right across our towns and cities, especially our towns.
All sides of the argument represented with a heavy dose of opinion.
We're on a mission here to make a difference.
And the GB News family really is here for you, and whatever time of day you can watch or listen.
Britain's watching.
Britain's watching.
We're proud to be GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Okay, welcome back to Headliners, your first look at Wednesday's newspapers. This one in the Times, Leo, about Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's right. So Elon Musk has accused the Economic Freedom Fighters, which is a radical left-wing political party in South Africa, where he's from, for pushing for the genocide of white people after a video circulated on Twitter, which he's trying to call X. It's not, we're still going to call it Twitter. It showed the leader, Julius Malema, calling for white genocide, basically, saying we should shoot the Boer.
Which is very extreme. Well, have we got the clip of this? Let's have a look.
Alliance shoot to kill the mother, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the
So, am I missing something there? Is that like a popular song or something?
Well, that's him headlining Glastonbury in 2025. But yeah, so I mean, he's a populist party. He's a sort of Jeremy Corbyn of South Africa. And yeah, but this is a serious thing. This is what similar to what happened in Zimbabwe, where they they killed white farmers.
It's very disturbing, given the history of the country. That kind of rhetoric.
Yeah,
I mean that's not good.
More than that, a few weeks afterwards, an old elderly white farmer was killed.
Yeah,
right.
And his wife assaulted.
I mean, this is grim. This is grim stuff. Okay, well, we're going to move on to the Mirror next. This tragic story: vegan influencer has died. Josh,
yes, vegan influencer dies of starvation and exhaustion after living off raw fruit diet. I know people who've done a raw fruit diet, but she did it for 5 years.
Yeah, but the article is saying that actually she died from a cholera-like infection. But what actually happened was because her diet wasn't sufficiently nutritious to deal with it.
Yeah,
but really it was the cholera that's the...
And it sounds like she had maybe some mental health issues as well. There was a neighbour who implies it.
It just looks like there was more to this than just vegan diet kills you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but let's just sell it on that angle.
But she didn't have the vitamins to fight off the infection. Like there's certain things that your body can't synthesize from just eating
Basically
watermelon.
the anti-Lewis Schaefer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, OK,
And
yes,
Lewis
of course.
Schaefer, still alive.
Barely. OK, we're going to move on to the Mail next, and apparently drinking lead makes you mental. OK.
Yeah, so this worries me. So being exposed to lead contamination as a child may turn you into a criminal as an adult, according to this study. So is your tap water laced with a toxic metal? Well, did you pay for your shopping today? That's how you find out. Did you commit any crime? This worries me. Like my dad lived in Lead Hills, which, as the name suggests, is a big lead mining area. And I'm pretty sure everything in it was made out of lead.
So that's now in your body,
That's
Leo.
probably now in my body. Other sources include pre-1970s household paintwork, contaminated soil, vintage toys, and some traditional medicines and cosmetics.
What about lead pencils? I used to lick them as a
They're
child.
graphite, so it's a different type of lead.
That's fine. That's all right then.
Yeah.
No wonder they didn't stop me.
No, but a good friend of mine told me about a study that supposedly when they made petrol unleaded, the crime rate dropped precipitously.
Are you making that up?
No, well, he might be making it up, but that's what he told me.
OK,
It was
interesting.
Martin told me.
I mean, that's very disturbing.
Is he lying?
We're going to move on to the Times now. And have you booked yourself in for one of these, Josh?
Indeed. Actors flooding in for facelifts during Hollywood strike. So, as you know, I was going to do a big acting job that has been cancelled.
You were?
Because of this, yeah. But now I'm going to have to go get a facelift.
But why wouldn't they? I mean, they've got all this time off. These are
This is
people
it.
with a lot of disposable income,
It takes-
and they
take months to heal, and supposedly because when you're up on camera to that level in big cinema, you can see it very closely.
Yes.
So they need that time to heal, and that's why this very famous guy, he sees A and B list people, no CDs or anything like that.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. And but he's got double the amount of work. He's working weekends.
And yet, these people that spend so much money, sometimes it just doesn't look good at all. Like sometimes it doesn't
And
work.
sometimes it looks great, and you don't know.
That's true.
But it's like Bill Burr says, it's like, do you want to look 57 or do you want to look like a 57-year-old lizard? Like, sometimes it looks bad. But I had some sort of plastic surgery. I had my hair done in Turkey. And then I was just straight back on stage. I was on stage with blood coming down my head.
I think a hair transplant is a very different thing from a facelift. I think, like, a hair transplant, it's a couple of weeks, right? A facelift, I think it takes months
It takes a while for a...
I had a hair transplant as well. I specifically got just this part here. And they did a good job.
They moved it to the back.
You can't tell that this is all fake, can you?
I still think, well, you know, people can do what they want with their bodies. The Times, again, what's this about? Beyonce... What a Beyonce story, Leo.
Beyonce has found a great way of getting more money. So, you know, before she used to do gigs for people like Colonel Gaddafi's sons, get millions of dollars for that. Yeah. Then when she got caught, she donated. She says she donated the money to Haiti. I'm not sure. I believe her, but this is a bit less evil. This is she's selling tickets, cheap tickets to her tour, where you can only hear, you can't see. So it's sort of behind the stage.
But you're saying they're cheap, Leo, but they're $157.
Yeah, but apparently it costs a lot of money to go and see Beyonce.
That is ridiculous. I would say that was...
To go and hear Beyonce.
But also, why would you want to go to a concert when you can't see the concert?
No, so you could see how much fun everyone else is having.
Can't you just listen to the CD at home?
Part of the atmosphere.
CD, look at you old geezer.
CDs have much better quality than MP3.
Okay.
Is that true?
Yeah.
But you know what?
But the convenience is why MP3
But these
went out.
tickets are for blind people. So
that's
Are
fine
they?
then.
Originally,
No,
and
they get to go for free, don't they?
Do they?
Who charge a blind person? What's that sick? If you're a millionaire...
Oh, look, I'm
charging
not saying you shouldn't sell listening-only
And
seats.
also, you know who else who might want to... People who don't like being in front of people who are going to stand up.
Right,
So
okay.
no one's going to be standing up or anything. So
I'm still amazed at this price, 157. That's considered a restricted view seat. I still think that's incredibly expensive.
Yeah, but she is Beyonce.
Even so. OK, we're going to move on now to this story, Josh. So let's settle this once and for all. Why did this stupid chicken cross the road?
People are shocked to discover the darker meaning behind the old joke. It was in a New York magazine called Knickerbocker in 1847, and it doesn't... What it means is it's just a pun, essentially, about crossing to the other side, being a deaf thing. So basically,
Wait a minute, so the joke is, why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side?
Yeah.
The idea is it's an anti-joke. You think it's a joke, but the punchline is just that's...
But it actually turns out that this is a proper punchline.
It's a metaphysical thing.
Yeah, or the chicken's committing suicide.
I don't think that's right.
Well,
I don't think this joke...
article will disagree with you.
Well, wait a minute. Is it just that a few people on Twitter have decided that this is some kind of, esoteric, eschatological thing about the chicken wanting to kill itself and go to the other side, the afterlife?
Yeah, this is people looking at tea leaves and seeing patterns. I think this
Right.
is a sign of a society that's got too much time to think.
You guys are denialists. You are conspiracy theorists. We've revealed the truth now.
Well, I tell you what, I was interested in the article just because I didn't know the origin of this joke.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it goes back to 1847.
See, now I find it really funny.
Do you know what? It's still a funny joke, I think, if you read it in the correct way, not in this stupid modern way.
To get to KFC, maybe update it like that?
Maybe do it that way. OK, well, look, that is all we've got time for. But let's have another quick look at Wednesday's front pages. So the Daily Mail is leading with, "We're shaping Labour policy, boasts eco-mob." The Telegraph has first-time criminals to avoid court. That's a money-saving scheme. The Guardian has asylum seeker barge, maybe death trap, firefighters warn. The Daily Express, biggest house fall price in 14 years, but a rise is on the way. The Eye has recession fears grow as interest rates set to rise until Christmas. Metro has cancer, holy grail. That's all we've got time for, though. Thank you to my guests, Josh Howie and Leo Kearse. We're back tomorrow at 11 o'clock, where I'll be back with Nick Dixon and Cressida Wetton. And if you're watching the 5 a.m. repeat at the moment, then do stay tuned, because after the break, it'll be time for breakfast.
The temperature's rising. Boxed Solar, proud sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi there, it's Aidan McGivern here with the GB News forecast. Turning wet again overnight. Heavy showers replace the rain into Wednesday, but unseasonable winds, especially along southern coastal parts of England. An area of low pressure is developing over the Atlantic. That's going to move through central parts overnight. It's going to bring the strongest winds on the southern flank, and some heavy rain ahead of it into Northern Ireland later this evening, passing through Wales, southern and central England, and then eventually northern and eastern England, seeing the wet weather by dawn, as well as southern Scotland. Now, northern Scotland stays clear overnight, and here temperatures will dip into the single figures, but elsewhere those temperatures will stay at 13, 14, 15 Celsius. But it is a wet and windy start to Wednesday. The wettest weather will be across Northern Ireland, central and southern Scotland, northern England. Another band of rain moves through southern counties for a while, carried through on a strengthening wind with the risk of gales for coastal areas, 50, perhaps 60 mile-per-hour wind gusts. That could cause impacts if you're taking part in outdoor activities, for example, or camping. And another thing that could be impactful, very heavy showers and thunderstorms through central parts. That all clears through, and by Thursday, it's a much brighter start to the day. Some sunshine out there. Quite quickly, though, the cloud fills in and further showers develop by the afternoon. Hit and miss downpours, and the wind from the north will make it feel on the cold side. Similar conditions on Friday before another low arrives on Saturday.
The temperature's rising. Boxed Solar, proud sponsors of weather on GB News.
What you get for breakfast is something that, if we do our jobs right, you will wake up to news that you didn't know the night before.
It's a conversation. It's not just me and Eamon.
We want to get to know you, and we want you to get to know us.
From 6, it's Breakfast with Eamon and Isabel.
Monday to Thursdays on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster is going around in ever-decreasing circles, followed by the media. Britain is broken. How on earth did we get into this mess? But more importantly, how do we get out of it? Join me at 7 p.m, Mondays to Thursdays on Farage, here on GB News. We will have open, rational debate. We've got to work out how Britain moves forward from this. Join us here on GB News, the People's Channel. Britain is watching.
When the news happens, it happens here.
And really important breaking news.
Breaking news this morning.
On TV, radio and online, the news starts here on Britain's Newsroom.
All the biggest stories and the answers that you need from across the UK and beyond.
Join Britain's Newsroom from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Patrick Christie's, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6. We tackle the day's news agenda like you've never seen before. It's high tempo, high octane, the most controversial topics and the best guests. You will not be able to take your eyes and ears off it. I'm not afraid to ask the questions that you really want answered. 3 till 6 p.m, Monday to Friday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
People in Britain, they love free speech, but they also love fair play.
I don't care if I'm speaking somebody from a trade union, from the Labour Party, somebody from the SNP. And I think the viewers like to see that actually we can challenge one another, but in a positive way.
We think we ask the questions that people want to ask, and often we ask the questions that we wanted to ask in Parliament but never got the chance to ask.
So join us every Saturday, 10 a.m. till noon on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
It's all about family, being in people's living rooms, all the interaction and getting to know who our viewers and listeners are.
When I was young, my dad used to say, "Nana, stop arguing." I wanted an outlet that would enable me to give my opinion.
People are going through a really hard time right now, and I know that you don't feel like you're being listened to by the establishment. I came to GB News because it's the people's channel, and I want the audience to have their say on the events of the day.
We're dynamic. We do something different.
Democracy shows that the wisdom of the nation is in its people.
I get to travel to find out what the story is from a personal perspective.
The British people aren't fools. We know when we're not being told the full story.
We've got to work out how Britain moves forward from this.
Is the best